Imagine a small shelter beside a railway track. Each time the train passes, the walls tremble, and so does your thoughts. First 2-3 nights, you have sleepless. And then on the fourth night, something different happens. Strange, in fact. You sleep through the noise. So this is the story of everybody who goes through pain. The kind of pain which stays for so long that it becomes background noise. So in this loud world, the people who suffer with quiet pain ask me about it. I see so many of them silently suffering for years with pain, but ignoring it. And then when it is too loud, they come for help. What happens is, what could be corrected in few days or few weeks takes few months if stretched. I have so many stories to tell, but I'll choose one among them, and I'll call him Mr. Raj for reference. It was another usual day in my life as a gastroenterologist, a perfect blend of chaos and crisis and calm. I just finished an endoscopy, stopped an ulcer from bleeding in the stomach, and then walked with that satisfaction where my skills and precision had just saved a life. Walked into my cabin, and comes in Mr. Raj. A middle-aged gentleman, polite, and his eyes told the story of exhaustion. He sat across my table, put a huge file, which was so heavy, in front of me, and he began. Doctor, I have been suffering for 3 years now. All the tests in this file, including my lab test, blood, scan, endoscopy in the past few months, are normal. Well, it sounded like the numbers did not validate his pain, and he was actually troubled about it. He continued, my wife and my friends think I'm imagining the pain. They tell me not to stress. Let me tell you this, telling a person who is stressed not to stress is like telling a person in the quicksand to just get out of it. They would be happy to, but without the right help, they would sink in further as much as they struggle. They need the right help. So he had come to the right place. I looked at him. I have been trained by amazing mentors for the past few decades, both in internal medicine and gastroenterology across the globe. And I know to diagnose and treat a disease, and his diagnosis was already there on the table, irritable bowel syndrome, where it simply means the gut is hypersensitive. It hyperreacts to all the signals that it gets. And aptly said by one of the leading IBS researcher, Dr. Douglas Drossman, the pain is not imagined. Like I said, I have had amazing mentors, but what actually helps me heal in my everyday life as a doctor comes from my father. He was an amazing, disciplined man with principles, a judge by profession. I learned, or rather imbibed, empathy and the art of listening, not just to words, but to the silence in between. I lost him before I graduated, and I do continue with his blessings and principles. And when it came to Raj, that day I did hear a silent plea for help, for feeling normal again. Have you all heard the phrase, listen to your gut? Gut feeling? Yes, I see a lot of nods. What if I tell you it's not just a phrase? It is a factual statement, not metaphorically. The brain and gut communicates constantly in a brain-gut axis. Let me explain, like two sisters who are constantly gossiping with each other, where the brain says, I am stressed, and the gut goes, time for diarrhea. Wait, what? Too late, already gurgling. You give me a headache. Typical, Always blaming me. So this chit-chat goes on and they do not keep any secrets. But I will tell you a secret today. The gut has about 100 million neurons. It is a second brain. And it makes its own decisions. Now the pain of Mr. Raj it is a global issue. Well, he was not alone suffering. Like I said, there has been many, many people who come to me with this kind of pain induced by stress. But the study shows about 14%, and the most recent even said about 20% of people worldwide are suffering with stress-related gut diseases and mostly pain and bloating. And the quality of life, another landmark study showed, was worse in the people with gut diseases from stress compared to end-stage kidney diseases on dialysis and even chronic diabetes patients. Now, beyond these, when we speak about numbers, all of us understand numbers. In the United States, per annum, they spend about, on IBS care alone, when you take the health care and the productivity loss, about $10 billion more compared to the annual investment made on NASA. And beyond all these statistics lies the quiet isolation and the chronic fatigue that these people feel and don't discuss. Now, coming back to the secret I was talking about, the gut microbiome. You remember 100 million neurons? Now, keep it aside. I'm talking about something far more intense, about hundreds of trillions of bacteria and viruses, and they live in our gut. That's more than the number of trees in Amazon forest. Yes, there's a world within us. And what's unique is each one has their own gut microbiome, as unique as a fingerprint. Even the identical twins have different microbiome, and they change with food you eat, with what you experience, and your mood, and your diseases. And the goal is to have the right balance of these gut microbiome. Now, being the gut whisperer of Mr. Raj, I wasn't giving him a long prescription. I gave him an assignment of doing it 10 minutes at the end of the day. And what would he write? 4 things. Food, what, how much, and when he ate. How much does he work out, or even if he moves around, how many steps? How was his sleep, and what were his symptoms that day? He reluctantly agreed, and 15 days later, he came back with a 5-day entry. That reminds us of our school days, right? But anyways, that was enough to begin and formulate a tailor-made plan across his gut health. Now, if you have to remember one thing from this talk, let it be this, because I'm sure it will help you through your life. I have formulated the simple formula, eat smart. Let me break it for you. E for eat natural. Forget about the processed foods and sugar. A, add fiber. Gut bacteria loves fiber. Take probiotics, natural ones. S, B, stay active and move constantly. Adequate sleep for A. And remember to think positive, because your gut remembers your thoughts. And why did I leave out the R? Shows that you guys are not listening to me. R, rehydrate, remember to hydrate, never forget the water. Now with this Eat Smart, I formulated a plan with the baseline of what his gut likes and dislikes, and then helped him decode the language of gut. But before I go on to what happened and to how long did it take, let me tell you, I have to tell you this, probiotics, natural probiotics, are amazing when you make it yourself. Ferment foods, make kimchi, make pickles in a traditional way. Revive your grandparents' recipe. Your gut will thank you for it. And move as much as you can, because for Mr. Raj, the movement did not start from the gym. For him, in the beginning, waking up in the morning without dread itself was a workout. So we started small, and according to studies, again, we are science-based, right? According to studies, even 20 to 30 minutes of walk for about 4 days a week is enough to build good bacteria, which secretes short-chain fatty acids and which protects our gut. So gut does not ask much. It's just that we need to take that first step to listen to our gut. And before I tell you what happened, I have to tell you how it all turned out to be. I was looking into a PET scan report on my system of a 68-year-old man. I still remember this moment. And he had colon cancer before, but had undergone chemotherapies and surgery. And there was a complete cure of his cancer, and I was just celebrating it, and that moment popped up a message, and this was 6 months since his first consultation. Who's Mr. Raj? And the message read, "Doc, I hit the gym today, and I got promoted. I'm heading the team. I can't believe I was on the verge of losing my job, and more than anything, my gut is calm, and so is my home. I do not fight with my wife anymore." 2 victories, both worth celebrating as a doctor. And what I want you to remember is, learn to listen to your gut. And your gut will listen back to you, and something magical will happen. Your gut health will transform, and so will your life. Good luck with the conversations with your gut. Thank you.